Persuasive Essays, Part 2. Let's look at a sample essay. The love of money is the root of all evil. This is the lesson from the recent U.S. government bailout of American Insurance Group. The government gave $170 billion to keep the company from going out of business. However, instead of using all this money for that purpose, AIG executives paid $165 million in bonuses to over 400 employees. As a result of this scandal, one might say that no company should ever be bailed out. However, some companies must be saved from bankruptcy. Yet, since people are so easily tempted to squander government handouts, there should be guidelines as to how the government bailout should be spent. In my introduction, I start with a quote, which is pretty familiar to most people and gets the reader interested in the topic. Also, notice I have underlined my transition phrases that add emphasis to the writing and draw attention to certain sentences. Also, you can see the thesis at the end of the first paragraph. It is a two-part thesis that directly answers the question. It tells that some companies must be bailed out, but that there should be guidelines. I'm going to start with my first part of my thesis that some companies must stay in business. First, some companies must stay in business to protect people's money and health. Banks must not be allowed to go bankrupt since they contain the savings of many consumers. People should not lose their entire wealth just because bank executives mismanage the business. Also, health insurance companies must stay in business. Honest, hardworking people deserve to have their health coverage intact in case of emergency. Therefore, health companies must be saved from bankruptcy as well. Here is the next paragraph, which answers the second question. This being said, it is necessary for the government to be responsible and provide guidelines as to how the money will be spent. Company executives should be held accountable for spending the money to pay debts, not foolishly reward themselves with bonuses. The government should not only provide guidelines, but check to make sure companies spend the money wisely. If the money is mismanaged, executives should be taken to court. So in this paragraph, I expanded a little bit on my thought that people should be watched about how the money is spent. And if it is not spent as it is intended to be, then the executive should be sued or taken to court. In closing, government bailouts are sometimes needed to protect vital businesses from going out of business. Instead of just handing the money to people who might spend it uselessly, the government should supervise the bailout. Only through close inspection can the government make sure executives are not tempted to save themselves before the company. In my conclusion, I came back to the thesis, I restated my ideas, and I told my feelings or my emotions about the topic. Also, I gave a call to action to the government to supervise the bailouts. And finally, the last thing that I said referred back to the hook about how people are tempted sometimes when they receive money without any guidelines to do things they shouldn't do. Let's sum up. You should always plan your essay and use the prompt. The prompt contains so much information that you can use as a writer to write your essay. Sometimes you don't have to pull a lot of things out of your head. It is already written down there for you. Make sure you answer all the questions that are given to you in the prompt and plan using a table like we did to do that. Use strong reasons and examples. Think about your ideas and have a position. Be sure that you write out everything that you can to support what you believe. Follow the essay plan. Don't just start writing and throw your plan out. Be sure that you follow it and keep your writing organized. And enjoy writing persuasively as much as you can.